All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. Backlash edition for 2025. Michael D'Angelo flying solo this week, but I promise you, Big D will be back next week. So I'm going to run through the real brief recap of Backlash, and I'll start off by saying WWE Backlash always feels like a bit of an afterthought to me. Coming off of WrestleMania, you have all the hype and all the pageantry and everything that goes on with WrestleMania, and then there's Backlash that just feels a little anticlimactic. And this year was no different. Very anticlimactic. We had 4 title matches, and then we had Gunther versus Pat McAfee, which was ridiculous. I had said in the lead up to this that this was a useless match that did nothing for Gunther, and it was exactly that, a useless match that did nothing for Gunther. We also had 4 title matches, no title changes. Unsurprisingly, we had a lot of title changes at WrestleMania. So you knew we weren't going to have all the title reigns in that quickly. Real quick, opening match was the U.S. Championship, men's U.S. Championship match, fatal 4-way. Jacob Fatu retained, which was the right thing. Jacob should retain at this point. He shouldn't drop the title that quickly. I wasn't a wild fan of the finish. This was my match of the night overall. It was probably the most exciting, the most dynamic, the most fun to watch. But it did end with Jacob getting help to essentially retain, first in Solo Sikoa coming down and interfering, and then secondly with the debut of Jeff Cobb, who, and before people start trolling me in the comments and saying Jeff Cobb's an accomplished independent wrestler. Yeah, I know, but I will tell you, the reaction in the crowd was mostly, who the heck is this guy? It wasn't, the commentators were like, wait a minute, that's the hottest free agent, Jeff Cobb. And it's like, nobody knows who this guy is. They didn't. I'm sure Jeff Cobb's great. I'm sure he's going to come. It's kind of odd that all of a sudden he's part of the bloodline. He's not Samoan. He's not part of the Anoa'i family. So that doesn't really make a ton of sense to me, but who cares? He interfered. He helped. And you had Jacob kind of somewhat begrudgingly get the help. Obviously, they're continuing to sow the seeds of the division between Jacob and Solo, probably building towards a one-on-one match between them, perhaps for the U.S. Championship at some point. But Jacob retains. Jeff Cobb debuts. We'll see where that goes. After that, next was Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. This one was a good match too, but you also again knew Lyra probably wasn't going to drop her title that quickly. It was, the finish was Lyra beating Becky with a surprise roll-up counter to Becky's surprise roll-up. Long match, solid match. Afterwards, Becky continued to lock in the disarmer, attacking Lyra, not letting go, doing that whole thing, really cementing herself as a heel status. The whole thing was fine. I presume Becky's going to move on. I don't think she's going to continue the feud with Lyra. Maybe she will, maybe she won't, but she's going to move on at this point. After that, we had Dominic Mysterio versus Penta for the Men's Intercontinental Championship. This one was a fun one. I really enjoyed it. And I will say this too. I had accurately predicted, so I'll brag about myself a little bit, the WrestleMania win for Dominic Mysterio and the way that he did it. Here it was obvious he was going to retain. He got help from the Judgment Day, somewhat kind of begrudging help from Finn Balor, who hesitated. So they're continuing to sow the seeds of dissension here between Finn and Dom. Ultimately, it did result with Chad Gable coming out and essentially coming in with a real assist as El Grande Americano. So he came out and attacked Penta while the ref was distracted. Mysterio hit the frog splash for the win. And his in-ring work, Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, his in-ring work is not as good as his dad, Rey Mysterio, but he's improved quite a bit. He had a great suicide dive through the ropes where he caught Penta and then hit him with a DDT at the finish of it. That was just picture perfect. Absolutely loved it. Good match. Again, you will be seeing Finn Balor break away from the group soon. I'm hoping, go on record to say, that Finn Balor breaks away to join Seth Rollins' group. That would be cool to have him be that third man. Paul Heyman's not really the third man because he's not wrestling anybody. But if you have Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins, and Finn Balor, that would be dynamite. So hopefully they go in that pathway, since they're clearly going to break Finn away. That would be neat as well. And I think that would really solidify that faction as being unbeatable. Here's hoping. Speaking of, well, I would say speaking of that, my worst match of the night, Pat McAfee versus Gunther, not because it was a bad match. It was fine. Just, again, this was unnecessary. I feel like Gunther's done way too much. He's accomplished so much that he shouldn't be going in and having matches with commentators, let alone one that was as competitive as this one is, because it wasn't a squash match. If it had come out and just been a squash match and Gunther had destroyed him and walked out, that's one thing. This was competitive. Pat McAfee had multiple rally moments, albeit he got some distraction help from Michael Cole, who was very biased throughout the whole thing. He nearly caught Gunther in a chokehold and was like trying to choke him out, and Gunther wasn't able just to immediately reverse him. Like it was too way too competitive. And then at the end, you had Gunther kind of show his respect and give flowers, as the kids like to call it, to Pat McAfee for his efforts. They didn't do anything for Gunther. It made Gunther look a little bit weak. It was unsurprising that he would have to win this one because, come on, he's wrestling against a commentator. And I wouldn't even call him a part-time wrestler. He's done a handful of matches in his career. So too competitive for my taste. And, hopefully they'll get Gunther back on track, have him doing things that are more meaningful. We also had those are 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so those were the 4 matches. And then the main event, John Cena versus Randy Orton. So I know people probably enjoyed the match and they probably liked the match. The match, it was what it was. Okay, it was the final time that you're going to see Cena versus Orton. So there's a certain nostalgia to it. I think you have to give both men the benefit of the doubt here because they've had long and storied careers. So you got to give them a lot of leeway. The match itself just wasn't great. It was a spamming finishers the entire time and kicking out of finishers the entire time. Beyond that, there wasn't much. I like the fact that they tried to talk about it as Randy Orton's doing this slow, methodical pace. And it's like methodical. They're slowing down because they're both in their 40s and then they can't work like they used to. But for me, it was too many kicking out of finishers. You had both refs taken out. So it's like the first ref got knocked out twice, and then a second ref came in, and then he got knocked out. And then the original ref finally woke up to be able to do the pinfall. The finish was the same finish from WrestleMania as people have been complaining about. It was John Cena hitting a low blow, followed up by the title shot to the head on Randy Orton, and then he picked up the win and got the win over Randy. You had that nice moment where Randy was giving everybody on Earth an RKO, all the staff, all the security, when he was mad because he should have gotten the pinfall, but the referees were out. That was the one thing I thought was a little bit strange too, is when I think it was Eddie was the first referee that got injured and was knocked out. And after that, it took like 10 minutes for a referee to get down there. And I'm thinking, this is the world title match between John Cena and Randy Orton. Why wouldn't they have a backup referee out within seconds versus like 10 minutes of no ref? That seemed a little ridiculous to me. And so Randy, rightfully so, should have been angry and RKOing everybody that he could. But, the whole thing was fine. It was just, it was a little slow moving, and it was mostly just finishers and kicking out of finishers, and it was the same finish from WrestleMania. But you knew that Randy was going to lose here. You knew John Cena wasn't going to drop the title after just winning it at WrestleMania. That was obvious. And then this was like the feud, and I look at it in a similar fashion to last year when Cody Rhodes won at WrestleMania, and he had the feud with AJ Styles in the Backlash that it felt kind of abrupt. It happened, and then it was over with. Same feeling here. John has this abrupt feud with Randy Orton. It's over with. He's going to move on now as they continue his retirement tour and kind of walk him down this path to finish out the rest of his career. So it was okay. It was not great. I could have done without. Everything did feel a little inconsequential to me, but that is always how WWE Backlash is. But what did you all think of Backlash? Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy the matches? What did you think of the main event? What did you think of John Cena versus Randy Orton? Is it as bad as I'm saying, or, should I give him a little bit more credit? And I give him all the credit in the world. I'm just trying to be honest about match itself was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't worthy of the This Is Awesome chance, unless you were there probably seeing it live, in which case it's awesome because you got to see these two go at it one last time. But that's what I got. Keeping it short and sweet this week. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We love hearing from you, so leave those comments. Let us know what you like, dislike, all that good stuff about what we're talking about, or just debate wrestling with us, because we love to do that too. I've been Michael D'Angelo. Again, have a great week, everybody. Appreciate the support as always, and we'll see you soon.